In today's video, we look at the brand new Monster Scenery Ice Wilds terrain kits from Monster Fight Club. Well, hi folks, and welcome to the channel. I'm Lee, your old hammered host. I'm here with Lynn.
Hello.
So longtime viewers of the channel may remember that back in May of 2020, we posted a unboxing video for some Monster Scenery from Monster Fight Club. So we had backed a Kickstarter campaign for some pre-painted tabletop scenery for miniatures games or RPGs that included trees, hills, rocks, bridges, and barricades, and we really liked it. We thought it was pretty cool stuff, and so not only did we back that Kickstarter campaign, but we bought a few boxes from our friendly local game store over the years because it's just really well thought out and engineered. In fact, you may have noticed that we've used that scenery in a number of battle report videos since then, most notably some of the Age of Fantasy Skirmish videos that we posted not too long ago. Okay, so we received the terrain from the first Kickstarter campaign back in May 2020, and then later that year, in September of 2020, we noticed that Monster Fight Club was launching a new Kickstarter campaign, Monster Scenery Ice Wilds, which is basically terrain for frozen tundra / Arctic Circle / Ice Age type games. So since we liked the first batch of terrain we got from these guys, we thought, hey, we'll back this second Kickstarter campaign as well and see how that goes. And we just received our rewards a few weeks ago. They've sort of been sitting in a box on the floor because we had company, but now we are going to bust them out and take a look at them. And let's start by taking a look at our double-sided 3x3 neoprene game mat. This mat was available in different sizes all the way up to 6x4, but since our table is kind of 42x42, 3x3 was the size for us. All right, let's take a look and see what we got here. This is a double-sided mat, so we're going to get double duty out of it, hopefully. Okay, so this side of the mat appears to be a snowy tundra-type landscape, and then on the other side. So the flip side here appears to be a frozen ocean during breakup, or perhaps a giant frozen lake or river. But whatever the case, it is kind of a unique battlefield, so you could use it to, I don't know, recreate the final days of the HMS Terror. The lost Arctic explorers who find themselves almost frozen in the ice and under attack from various snow beasts and such. Yeah, this would make for some very interesting games of Frostgrave if you wanted to battle on a frozen lake, or perhaps just off the coast there's some sort of ancient wizardly sea vessel that could be investigated. I'm also reminded of the Kings of War Shadows in the North factions, particularly these Northern Alliance clansmen who look like they'd be very willing to pick the bones of any ship caught in the ice flow. Okay, let's take a look at some of the terrain here that might work well with this side of the mat, and then we'll flip the mat and take a look at the rest of the terrain. Yeah, we're going to set these frozen bushes aside here for a moment because they don't really work on this side of the mat very well. So the pledge package I supported was the Arctic Adventure pledge package, and that was one of the smaller ones. But it does come with two of these double-sided neoprene mini mats. You have a hole in the ice on one side, perhaps created by a renegade orca or a kraken or something like that. And on the other side is a rocky outcrop that is not quite covered in snow. So that would be good for the tundra side when we get to that here in a minute. But for now, this is just some kind of impassable hole in the ice. So yeah, when the campaign hit certain stretch goals, they threw in bonuses like a penguin, an Arctic hare, and this looks to be an Arctic fox. And he has little pegs on the bottom of his feet, so I think he probably sticks to one of these terrain pieces here, if we can find where the holes are. We haven't found them yet. And speaking of icy terrain pieces, in the original Monster Fight Club Kickstarter that we backed, there were quite a few rocks, but they were sandstone or gray like this, depending on what you selected. These hills here are in a frosted ice pattern, though you could have also selected snowy hills, which is basically just rocks with some snow on them, and translucent glacial ice hills, which looked like kind of a bluish ice cube. Here is her penguin familiar.
With the baby penguin.
With the baby penguin, right.
For double the familiar power.
Our rewards box also included this icicle here, but I think this is kind of a stretch bonus, so we just got the one, though I think you could have ordered these in larger sets if you wanted. Do you know what this is?
That is a sled dog sled, which is really good for traversing in the snow.
That's right. So if we could find Balto and Togo, maybe this lady could make it all the way to the coastline.
Or maybe some dire frost wolves.
Yeah, maybe she can hook up some dire wolves. Perfect. Okay, so that is the ice flow side of the mat. Now we're going to take a moment and flip it over to the tundra side of the mat and take a look at some more of our terrain. Okay, so we flipped over the mats. We're on the tundra side. We've also flipped over the mini mats. So you can see there's the tundra side there too. These trees did not come with this particular Kickstarter. These are from the previous Kickstarter. And they're meant to work with these canopies here. So there's a variety of canopies in different colors. And I suppose if this was a mystical forest, maybe these trees would still have canopies on them, even though we're probably way beyond the tree line. But in this case, they do not. So they are just barren trees, maybe from an age when there were trees before the glacier moved in or the mystical snowstorm that buried the city of Frostgrave.
We don't know.
We don't know. We also had the option of selecting stackable pine trees in different colors, which would have worked very well with the Tundra mat. But I didn't do that since we have a bunch of old Christmas trees we got on discount after Christmas at Walmart and various places that serve as our pine trees, so we didn't really need any more, but they were pretty cool. Some of the other options I didn't pick were wooden fences, a hunter's camp, and a small ruin set, since we kind of have that covered in the terrain collection already. And since we're off the ice flow and onto the tundra, I guess it's appropriate to place the frozen bushes, so we'll do that now. And I think those are kind of meant to work with these small mats here, so you might have a couple of frozen bushes and a block of snowy hill right there, something like that. And I think, as I've mentioned before, at least in a previous video, these sets are great because they are designed specifically for miniatures, so there's nice flat places to set the base. And then, of course, if you have other Arctic terrain, you can just blend it in with these guys. These are some ice crystals from AT43, I think. And now that I think about it, I'm regretting not getting the hunter's camp because it would be fun to have a little structure right there.
We'll just have to build our own.
We'll have to build our own. Okay, so another thing we have is a two-sided ice road. So we're going to adjust our terrain just a little bit and put an icy road right down the middle of our map here. Okay, so this is a two-sided acrylic frozen river on one side and a frozen road on the other. So that would be perfect for games of Frostgrave or similar scenarios. So the frozen river, along with most of the monster scenery pieces in this set, is pre-painted. So it's just ready to use right out of the box, which is becoming more and more appealing to me over time because I have plenty of things in the pile of shame, or as they say, the pile of opportunity, that still need attention. And the fact that this stuff is already ready to go is a big time saver from that perspective, so we can put it to use right away. So this is a 5-piece acrylic set, and it ends with this little pond here, and perhaps there is a monster that lives in that pond, ready to grab unwary travelers. In fact, in these types of games, name a pond that doesn't have a monster in it. That would be the exception.
That would be.
All right, let's go ahead and flip it over and look at the frozen road. The frozen road to Frostgrave, perhaps. And you can see there's some old paving stones underneath the frost. So it'll get you where you're going, but it's probably pretty slippery. Wear your cleats.
Or have a sled.
Or have a sled, exactly. And here are a bunch of little bits. Yeah, these are all little bonus bits, I think, from when the campaign hit the stretch goals. And I'm sure many of these Lynn is going to steal. Here is a wolf. Here is a bunch of seals. They would be probably happier on the ice flow side, but they're here on the tundra side for now. Here is a narwhal. So he is also going to be happier on the ice flow side. A polar bear and a bunch of bear traps, if you can see those. So there's an open bear trap. And here is an Arctic wizard or a druid. Perhaps he is Saint Nick wandering his way back to the North Pole. Okay, so that is a quick look at some of the pieces we got from supporting the Monster Scenery Ice Wilds campaign from a couple of years ago. We could have ordered different stuff. We could have ordered more stuff, but this is what we selected, and I'm fairly pleased with how it all turned out. But I suspected it was going to be pretty good because, as I said, we've ordered some stuff before, and we're very happy with it. So what's your favorite?
I like the sled, but I really like the ice river.
Yeah, they did a nice job with the sled. I wish they'd painted all the other extraneous pieces as well and saved us some time, but they didn't, so it'll just have to go in your to-do pile. The bear, the wolf, the narwhal, the seals.
All the traps. We need more trap markers.
Yeah, we need trap markers, absolutely. Now, in the previous Monster Scenery Kickstarter campaign, the pieces that were available through Kickstarter pretty quickly became available through the Monster Fight Club retail store, their online store, as well as on online retailers like Amazon and also in local retailers. So we got quite a few pieces of monster scenery from our friendly local game store just up the road, and that helped us kind of round out the stuff we'd gotten from the previous Kickstarter. However, I did pop on to the Monster Fight Club online store just today to see if they were selling any of the Ice Wilds scenery sets yet on there, and they don't appear to be yet. But I would expect we'll see most of these pieces, at least the major ones, available through the Monster Fight Club online store or other retailers fairly shortly, because that was kind of their modus operandi. And frankly, they're pretty well designed and they're very cool, so I would say it would be a waste not to sell them outside the Kickstarter. So we'll just have to see what happens. All right, that is a wrap on today's Arctic theme presentation, which is a little ironic because it's about 94 degrees today, even though it's the first week of September. So if it's warm where you are, hopefully today's video helped you think cool thoughts. We'll be back soon with some more tabletop wargaming nonsense. But until then, take care of yourselves, have some fun,
and stay frosty.
Yes, indeed, stay frosty.